all admit that we've been there. We will sit up in December/January and we'll come up with these really dope New Year's resolutions, and we'll be like, oh, I'm about to do this, and that. And then we don't look at it again until December. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, Paradoxical Joy. I'm your girl Joy, and in today's video we're going to be getting into how you can make sure that you can actually accomplish the goals and New Year's resolutions that you set for 2020 in 3 very simple and easy steps. So let's just get into this video. So what really inspired me to record this video is that I realized that in the last few years I have actually been able to accomplish all of my New Year's resolutions / goals that I set for the new year. And I was like, okay, well, I figured out a way to do it. I want to share it with you guys. So I had to really change my perspective on how I started to create goals and how I looked at New Year's resolutions specifically, because it's kind of different what you have for like your New Year's resolutions compared to just like general goals. And so I had to, of course, it's different. So I had to have a different mindset. So let's get into these steps on how to help you change your mindset as well. So step number 1 is going to be figuring out what works for you. So basically what this means is you have to kind of sit down with yourself and say, how can I set everything up so that I can be as successful as possible? So for example, how I used to set up my New Year's resolutions before I was able to actually start accomplishing them is I used to say things like, let's just say like I'm trying to work out, right? So I would say my New Year's resolution would be, I want to work out 2 to 3 times a week. So that's more like a goal rather than a New Year's resolution for me. So like, obviously I would try to work out 2 to 3 times a week, but then when it wouldn't happen, I would be like, oh my gosh, I just failed this entire resolution that I have. I suck, and all these like negative thoughts. And then what I did to change it up is, instead of saying I want to work out 2 to 3 times a week, I would say I want to have a healthier lifestyle. Now, of course, whenever you create a broader idea, you have to define what that means. So I would say I want to have a healthier lifestyle. Well, what does that mean? Well, I want to drink a gallon of water. I want to work out 2 to 3 times a week. I want to eat more vegetables, things like that. And so all of these things that I wanted to accomplish were all kind of in one. And it was broad enough that it allowed me to actually be able to accomplish them. So I'll just go ahead and use this analogy. For me, what I had to do was switch my New Year's resolutions. So it was kind of like a tree or like a pyramid. It was the trunk of the tree, the roots of the tree, and then my goals, the smaller things, were branches. Or like when you have a pyramid, it was the top of the pyramid, and the rest of the goals that I had fell underneath and came down from, like, you have the overarching theme and then you have the things that are coming down below it. And so my overarching theme, instead of saying, oh, I want to work out 2 to 3 times a week, my overarching theme became, I want to live a healthier lifestyle. And that gave me the freedom to be able to adjust that however I needed to. Because life is going to happen and you need room to be able to adjust. So you have to figure out what works for you. You have to figure, maybe how I do it, maybe you need to do it the opposite. Maybe you are that person that needs to put in your New Year's resolutions, I need to work out 2 to 3 times a week. I need to do this. I need to do that, and be very specific. Or maybe you're someone who, like me, who has to have like broad themes and ideas so that you can kind of fill it in as you go along. Whatever it is, however you want to set it up, you just have to figure out what works best for you and go with that and stick with it. And I would suggest that if you're someone that, if you have been doing New Year's resolutions for a while now, but you haven't actually been able to really accomplish them, then maybe try to do the opposite of what you've already done in the past and try something new and see how that works out for you. Another way for you to figure out exactly what you want is to ask yourself, what is most important? For me, if we're using the same analogy about trying to live a healthier lifestyle versus working out, saying that you're going to work out 2 to 3 times a week, I had to say to myself, is it more important for me to, do I want to see a specific weight on the scale by the end of the year, or do I care more about how I feel? And of course, like, I can't give you the answer. You have to figure out for yourself what is right. And so for me, I was like, oh, well, I care more about how I feel. So that would mean that, okay, well, maybe I would prioritize maybe like drinking more water, that would affect maybe how I feel more than just going to the gym, right? Or you could be like, I really want to lose 30 pounds. Like that is something that is really like on my list. That's something that's very important to me. Then maybe going to the gym would be more of a priority than drinking water. Like it just depends on exactly what you're trying to do. So start off with, what am I trying to do, and how can I word this? How can I present this for myself so that I can actually get there? Step number 2 is going to be how to actually execute / incorporate these goals and New Year's resolutions that you have. So a big problem that, I mean, we can all admit that we've been there, of we will sit up and December / January and we'll come up with these really dope New Year's resolutions and we'll be like, oh, I'm about to do this, and that. And then we don't look at it again until December or January of the next year. Like we just come up with these lists of things. We don't look at them again. We don't actually accomplish them. And then we just keep recycling the same things. How many times are we gonna put on our New Year's resolution list that we trying to lose weight without actually losing weight? You know what I mean? How many times are we gonna say that, oh, I wanna be more financially responsible without actually becoming financially responsible? Like how many more times? So in order to avoid going in this endless cycle of creating this list, not following through, recycling this list, what we're going to do is figure out how to incorporate it. So again, we're going to go back to step 1 and figure out what works for you. So something that I do that really helped me is that I look, and I suggest this for anyone who's really serious about accomplishing these goals, is to look at your resolutions list often. Create, whether it's your resolutions list, your vision board, whatever it is, don't let it just sit in the corner and collect dust. Actually pick it up and figure out how to utilize it on a day-to-day basis. So for me, I like to do monthly check-ins with myself. So like at the beginning of the month or the end of before the new month starts, I'll kind of do a review of, you know, this month was really good here, it was really good here, but I could work on this, and this next month. And so that's what I would do with my New Year's resolutions list. So let's say we're going back to that, I'm trying to have a healthier lifestyle, right? So I would say, okay, in March, I did really good about drinking my water. But in April, I would want to focus more on working out more. So it's stuff like that where you're trying to take these goals but break them down so that they're actually doable. And making sure that you're revisiting this list. Because if you don't revisit it, if you don't find ways to incorporate it, then you're just making lists. That's literally all that you're doing. You're just making these goals that, are they even really goals because you're not really achieving them? It's just kind of like a situation, and we don't want that. We're trying to be bosses in 2020. We're trying to reach our goals. We're trying to be about our business, and so in order to do that, we got to be on it. So when it comes to incorporating and executing these goals, create a system that works best for you. Whether you're someone like me that likes to check in with yourself every month, maybe you need to be more frequent where you're checking in with yourself every 2 weeks. Whatever works for you, do that. But make sure that you're actually continuously throughout the year checking back in and checking up on your progress and figuring out new ways, incorporating new ways to actually accomplish your goals. Don't just say, oh, this one way that I created doesn't work, so now the whole thing is just gone. Actually just find a different way, a different system. There's always more possibilities to accomplishing your goal, and you might just have to figure out, there might be a specific goal that you might have to do a specific thing in order to get there, and you might have to be on that journey to figure it out. But that's part of the process, and it's part of being a boss. Really, it's a part of figuring out what am I trying to do and how do I get there, what do I need to do to get there, and then do it. And then literally just do it. So that leads me into step number 3, which is keep going. Okay, just keep going. A year is a long time. Okay, it is really a long time, but it's also not a long time at the same time, if that makes sense. Basically, there's going to be a lot of trials and tribulations. There's going to be life is going to happen. So manage your expectations. Okay, don't say, oh, I'm gonna work out 2 to 3. Don't be someone that hasn't worked out ever before, and then all of a sudden in this year, as soon as the clock strikes midnight, you're all of a sudden going to work out 2 to 3 times a week, every single week for 52 weeks of the year. That's most like if we're being real, like that's most likely not going to happen. That you're going to go from someone who never worked out before and now you're going to be working out 2 to 3 times a week. No matter how good your intentions are, no matter how early or late that you stay up, wake up, whatever, just life is going to happen, and that's okay. So figure out how to make sure that you're still going back to step 2 of incorporating your goals into your life. Something when it comes to like working out, so you might say, oh, I want to work out 2 to 3 times a week. Instead of being so structured and being like, oh, I need to work out at 8 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, maybe like Monday you can only fit in 30 minutes at like 9:30. Like just make it work. And also just keep going. Life is gonna happen, things are gonna happen, but it's okay. Pick up where you left off and keep going and keep pursuing these goals. If you think about it, if whatever your resolutions list is, right? If you literally spend 1 week out of the entire month just dedicated to your goals, right? Just 1 week out of every month. That's 12 weeks out of the year, okay? And then by the time you get to the end of the year, you might not be where you envision that you wanted to be, right? But you are a lot further than you were when you started. So it's literally just about keep going. It's not about being perfect. Maybe like this is like the first week of the year and you were supposed to start and then you didn't start. It's okay. Be kind to yourself, pick yourself back up, and just keep going. Just keep trying to go after these goals, and don't just give up because it didn't go cookie cutter according to plan. All right, you guys, so those are my 3 easy, simple tips on how you can make sure that you're actually accomplishing your New Year's resolutions and goals. They've worked for me. I really hope that they work for you. Comment down below what are some of your New Year's resolutions. Comment down below if you found this video to be helpful. If you have any other questions or any other topics that you guys would like me to cover about goals or literally anything else. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure that you like this video, make sure that you subscribe, and also if you really enjoyed me, you can check me out on my Instagram at paradoxicaljoy, and I also have a blog at paradoxicaljoy.com, and I'll have those linked down below, so they'll probably be somewhere on the screen, but also will be linked down below. So if you want to go and check the direct links out, you can, and just follow me on all the things. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.